the recorded lectures. So once again, you're all welcome. Today is day 5, and today we shall continue on the journey to 30 days Excel challenge. Okay, so today happens to be day 5. Yesterday, we were able to look at how to link a worksheet. We looked at how to link a worksheet. We also looked at how to use a text in a formula. Whenever you are linking a worksheet, okay, like the names of all these worksheet, all these sheets, the names are their text. So what you have to quote them, they have to be like open quotes at the beginning. They'll also be open quotes at the end. Okay, so that is how we normally link a worksheet. And we looked at all this linkage yesterday. We did it extensively to know how this worksheet was linked, and we did that yesterday. Then today we also continued also to also look at the if function properly. We looked at the if, and then we just try to understand how to use text in a formula. I told you that if you are linking a worksheet, for the names of those worksheets, you use one open quote. But when you are just linking words, like when you're using words in a formula, you have to use double quotes for them. We also looked at that yesterday. We also said that if function can be used by an inventory officer, somebody that is an inventory officer, you want to always know when the reorder level should be. We said the if function can also be used by a teacher, okay, to nest the grade. Like, what are the grades that each of these scores should be given? So we use an if function to also nest that. And I said I will share all this a sheet so that we can do more practice on our own. Then we also went further to also look at the second if table. Under the second if table, we now have a proper exercise. So this exercise now, we have the, like for somebody that is a teacher, we have the matric number of students, we have the names of students, their sex, their department, the subject that they took, okay? Then we have, we say we are looking to get the average of those scores that they have to get the grade, whether they got C, A, or so on and so forth. So you can see that is if that was used to nest all this formula, okay? To nest all these grades, also for remarks as well. I said I was going to share us this sheet so that we can all understand what is happening there. Then if there's any question, you can reach out to me on Monday when we shall meet again. So also we are this place also, we have names of staff. Then we have the depth that they've taken across the months from January all through to June, okay? Then we also have the debt that is settled, the payment that they made from January up to June as well. Then we also look at how they use the if function to actually nest this thing. So I hope we can see the screen. Okay, let me try and okay, so let's continue. Now the next thing we're going to do, we've also looked at this inventory withdrawal sheet. We also look at this inventory purchases sheet. Just give me 2 minutes. A call is coming. Hello? Yeah, good evening.
Sir, you are mute, so we can't hear you.
Yeah. Okay, sorry everybody. I said that I had a call, and that call I didn't want it to distract us. So we also looked at this for an inventory officer. If you have an as you are buying those inventory, you have a sheet that you are populating whenever you buy inventory, whenever you purchase um new stock. You have a sheet you are populating. Also, when you are issuing those stock, probably to the production department, you also have a sheet that you're populating. Then you should also have an inventory control sheet. Inside this inventory control sheet, you are looking at the purchases that you've made, right? You are looking at the withdrawals that you've made from those stock. Then you are looking at what is the balance that you have. Then to now set the reorder level, the reorder level is always going to be given. So it's not any formula. They will determine the reorder level for each of those items. So for the first one here, the reorder level is 40. That means that once we get to 40, we have to go and order for it so that we can get, so that we don't want it to go below 40. So that is the reorder level. So now at the end of the day, you also have remarks. Either you should reorder or it is okay. So we use the if function to also achieve this. Now we are moving further in this training today. So today we are going to be looking at, I told us yesterday also that when you are when you understand the knowledge of Excel, you can also keep track of your vehicle document. For instance, probably you have motor vehicle in your company, you are the one in charge of the renewal of papers. Okay, you see that a paper will be issued probably at the beginning of the year. It can go to like the next 12 months, or some of them can even can expire along the way. So at any point in time, you need to keep track of those things so that those documents don't get expired. So it's your duty. Or probably you are working in an insurance industry and then you issue out cover to clients, right? And it's your duty to keep tab on those cover to make sure that those insurances don't get expired. So you can easily use Excel to achieve that. And how do we do that? Using the if. The if will still come in very handy. So let's look at it. These are very cool plate numbers, right? So, and I know most of us understand how the plate number is, okay? So that is that. We have the date this license was issued. This one was issued in September 2014. And then we want to now set a year after. How do we do that? Look at what we did. We now say if our C2 equals to 0. Remember that I told you that whenever we have double quotes, okay, we use it for text. Now, in this double quotation, there is no text at the middle. That means I want Excel to return a blank space. So now we are using the if formula also. You know that they say if, when you're making an if statement, you make a statement, then you set two answers that you want Excel to pick. So we are making a statement now. We say C2 is equal to 0. That is what we said. So Excel will come to C2. So this is C now, and then this is 2. The rows are the number, the column are the alphabet. So this is C2. Excel comes to C2 to come and check if truly C2 is equal to 0. And obviously, C2 is not equal to 0. There is something inside cell C2. So what is the next thing? Now you've made your statement. C2 is equal to 0. Excel check it. Is it true? If it is true, Excel will pick the first answer you said. Remember, once you finish making your statement, you need to put a comma, okay? So Excel will pick the first answer that you said. And this answer that we set here is a text. We are telling Excel that we want, if C2 is actually 0, then return an empty cell for us, because we are putting, like, we want to put a text, but we did not type anything inside the double column. So that means that it's going to be blank. So then, but if C2 is not equal to 0, what we tell Excel is that we say C2 plus, now, from this 2014, September 2014, we need to add 365 days to it to get September 2015. So we now say C2 plus 365 days. So let me confirm that we understand. So let's do something again. Let me do it here so that it's not like we are doing magic. So this is what we are doing. we are saying that, oh, sorry, this is what we are trying to do. We are telling Excel that, let me delete what is inside this cell. We want to use the if function, okay? We already know that this place is where we have the license issuance date. Let's assume they issue the license to us on the 1st of January, okay? The 1st of January, oh, sorry, 1, then 20, or let's say 26, okay? 1st of January, 26, okay? So now, if they issued something for us this date, let me try and copy this kind of format. So let me come here to home. Then I will come to this place, this thing that looks like a brush. I want to copy, because this one is looking like 8, then December is spelled, and this is the year. So I come to where I want that thing to take effect. I want to copy something from here. So I come to home. Once I come to home, I will look at this brush. There's a brush sign. So you click on the brush sign. So you can see that you have copied the format of how this date was done. Just come here and click. So automatically you can see that now we now have 1st January 26. So what do you want to do? We want to tell Excel that if this place where our issuance date, if the place is 0, then Excel should just make the expiry date of that place to be 0, okay? But if that space has a date inside, Excel should add 36 days, sorry, 36 days to that date so that we can achieve what we want to achieve. So what are we doing? We now say equal to, we now start with the if function. We now open our bracket. We now say that, who is this person disturbing? Please mute your mic. We are in a class and you are. Siphon Abraham, please mute your mic. Okay, so we now say that if the content of cell C9, so we now say C9, we are saying C9, we are making a statement equal to 0. That's the statement we made. We have made our statement. So Excel goes to that C9, okay, and check. Is C9 truly equal to 0? We are done with our statement. We now do a comma, okay? Now, if C9 is equal to 0, what answer do we want Excel to pick? Now, we want, because that place, we say if that place is 0, we want Excel to pick a blank space so that Excel will not bother himself doing anything. So we'll not put double quotation mark. So it's Excel, if that place is 0, Excel will simply not be able to put anything there. So when we are done with our statement, we put a comma, we put the answer that we want Excel to pick when that statement is correct. So we put a comma. However, if that statement is not correct, if this C9 is not equal to 0, then what do we want Excel to do? We now tell Excel that this C9 that you have, okay, then you now add 365 days to it, 365 days to C9, and then you now close the bracket, then you can press enter. Okay, so you can see Excel comes to this place, to this C9 truly. Excel check there and you see that that place is not equal to 0. So because it's not equal to 0, Excel will not pick the answer that we set. Now Excel will now pick the second answer. The second answer is saying this C9 plus 365 days. So that is what we told Excel. So let's copy the format of this date also. We come to home. When we come to home, there's this brush sign. We click on the brush sign. For those people that don't know how to do that, then you come here and click on this place, and automatically we have the same format of the date. So we have been able to understand how we are able to get 365 days after the date of the issuance of the license. However, if the space is empty, Excel will know that that place is equal to 0, and Excel will simply put a blank space in that place. So that's fine. Then the next thing is that we also want to know how many days is remaining. How do you do that? You are saying this, okay, we are using an if again, but we can also quickly say this this date that we have minus the other date, but that is going to be very easy. But let's now check. We are now using another if again. We are still using the same if that say C9 is equal to 0. We are still using that. So if it's true, a 0 will pick a blank space. But if it's not true, we now say that the expiry date minus today's date, okay, to know how many dates is remaining. Now, the reason is because you cannot just go and say equal to this date minus this date. No, because if you say this date minus this date, you will have 369 days, right? But because 365 days, sorry, you have 365 days, but because we want to count from today, where we are now, from today to that 1st of January 2027, how many days do we have? So what we do? We now use our formula. We now say, okay, equal to C9 equal to 0. We've made our statement. So Excel comes to C9, comes to check, and it's discovered that no, C9 is not equal to 0. So Excel will not pick this blank space that we put here. Excel will now come and pick the second answer. The second answer is saying D9, which is the expiry date, minus today that we have. So there's this formula that they call today, then you open bracket and close bracket. It's telling us the date of today. So we are saying that the date it will expire minus today that we have now. So that is what we are doing for it, and that is how we're able to get that. Okay, if we place an insurance for our vehicle on the 1st of January 2026, and then it's going to expire on the 1st of January 2027, how many days is remaining today? Today we are already on, today is 30th of January. So we discovered that it will be 336 days for it to expire. So the next thing you want to do is that you want to also put a remark here to know whether it has expired or is still active. So either it has expired or whether it's still okay. So look at what was done. So I open the bracket for you to see it now. So we still use the same C9 equals to 0 statement that we are making, okay? We say C9 equal to 0. If it's true, return an empty space. But if it's not true, we now say our D9 minus sorry, okay, so we now nested another if. We nested another if statement after that. So we now say that if we now say D9 is less than and equal to today. So we are saying that D9, that means that this our expiry date, January 1st, 2027, we say that it's less than and equal to today. Today is what? 30th of January, 2026. So is January 1st, 2027, is it less than and equal to today, January 30th, 2026? Who can answer that question? Do you understand my question? Who can explain what I just mentioned? Who can explain what I just said? So here we are looking at how to use if now to get. So we're also using today's date. Okay. So we are looking at how to use if to, number one, get the date that this thing will expire. Number one, we'll be able to do that. Number two, we also use if to get the numbers of days remaining for it to expire. Then the third one is that to now put whether it has expired or it's okay. So we started the statement. We say if our C9, because everything, all the formula emanated from C9. We started every formula from C9. We now say C9 equals to 0. We made that statement. So is it true? We go to C9. C9 is not equal to 0, so it's false. So Excel is not going to put the answer that you pick. Excel will now go and do, Excel is supposed to pick the second answer. Now, the second answer is another if statement. And that if statement is saying that D9, what's our D9? Our D9 is the expiry date, which is January 1st, 2027. It's saying that D9 is less than and equal to today. Today is what? 30th January 2026. So now we've made a statement. G9, which is 1st of January 2027, is less than and equal to first is less than equal to 30th January 2026. Is it true? Who can answer it? Is it true?
No.
So it's not true. So because it's not true, yes, because it's not true, Excel, if it were to be true, Excel would have picked this expired. But because it's not true, Excel will now pick OK. And that is why we have OK in this bracket. So let me click on it. We discover that it's OK that we have in this bracket. Why? Because our expiry date is not less than today's date. Today is 30th of January 2026. Why the date the thing will expire is on 1st of January 2027. So you can see how important the if statement is. So even when you are trying to track the date that your vehicle license is going to expire, we are still making use of if. All you need to do is just come and take this table, understand how they nested all this formula. You can tweak it to whatever you want to do. If you have people you supply goods to, probably you sell to customers on credit. You supply them goods on credit, and then you know the payment term, probably net 30, net 15, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the 15 days, they are supposed to pay you. So if you have a lot of customers, in order not to forget the date that some customer will pay, you can use this kind of table to track it. So the first thing is going to be the names of the customers, okay? The date you sold to them, right? The date they are supposed to pay you, which is going to be like the expiry date. So the date you sold to them, the date they are supposed to pay you, then you now write how many days is left for you to receive your payment. Then the next thing you now put, is it due already, or is it still okay? You can use all these things to do that. It will give you the answer. Even if you are in an insurance industry and then you need to insure vehicle for your customers and you need to remind your customers when the vehicle is due, you can also do that. So in order for you not to tell the person on the actual due date, you can decide to put the expiry date probably a week before the expiry date, so that when you remind the person 1 week to the expiry date, the person understand that, okay, I still have a week to go. You won't say you didn't remind him on time. So let's say somebody insured his vehicle with you on 1st of January 2026. So you now set the parameter that, okay, instead of me to wait till 1st of January 2027 for me to remind this person, let me set a week before. So you now take this, your 360 that we use here. You know, we use 365 here. Instead of me to use 365, you now take your 365 minus a week, which is 7 days, minus 7 days. That is what you're going to put here, so that by the day you are going to remind the customer, the person still have a grace of 1 week to renew that policy. So that is what we did over here, which I said I was going to teach us. So we now come here also, we've done the multiplication table, fine. We've done the multiplication table, we don't need to go back to it again because we are through with that. We've also practiced the multiplication table, fine. Then the next thing is loan tracking. How do we track our loan? Okay, so I'm sure here also you are going to be using, okay, so look at here, they are using absolute referencing. Okay, so they use absolute reference for our number. So let me click here and then let's check all the formulas in this worksheet. So I'll press Control tilde. Okay, Control tilde is showing us all the formula in the worksheet. So the first thing we are looking at here we have months, right? Then we have we are dividing. So here now we are making D2 permanent. So let's go and see why is D2. You can see here now in this bracket they say D is our column. Our D is actually relative. There's no dollar before D, but our 2 is permanent. It means that the formula we are using for all these sheets, all of them, there's something we are using for all this formula that is contained in D2. Only D2 is where we pick for this formula. So if we go and check what that thing is, so that we understand what the thing we are using for that formula is. So let me press Ctrl tilde again. So you should always learn, if they give you a worksheet, learn how to query it, how to know what is being done. How did they arrive at this? How do we arrive at this? So that will lead us to what they call yesterday I showed us how to audit a formula. So today we're going to look at to trace precedence, okay? Trace precedence or trace dependent, okay? So some places you need a data from another cell to be able to formulate what you need for that place. So they say trace dependent, trace precedence. I will show us how to do all those things. So here now, we have discovered that the formula we are using here, we are using $2. That means everything we are using, we are taking it from column D, right? Row 2. So column D, row 2. So this is it here. This is what we are using for all our formula. We are using this figure that is here, okay? So this is the loan. This is the loan that the person probably took, okay? The loan that the person probably took. Then we now say that this loan, we need to either, somebody's hand is up. Can you quickly ask your question? Okay, somebody said, Ibrahim invited, sorry, let me quickly check. Okay, no problem. So let's continue with the so let's continue with the training. So here we can see that here we have the loan that the person took, right? Now we want to like track the loan. How much did the person take? How much is it going to be deducting monthly? So we assume that this loan is for a period of, if you come here, you see that the loan is for a period of 46 months. So this loan is repayable in 46-month installment, okay? So for the 6 months. Okay, then we come here. We now say we are subtracting B H3. Where is our B? Our B, this is our column B. Okay, we are subtracting these from actually B3. So we are saying this minus this to know what is. So we are summing. We are summing. Sorry. We are summing the payment update. So now this is it. This person took this loan. This is the loan that the person took, and this loan is supposed to be repaid in 12-month installment period. Okay, 46-month installment period. So when he took this loan, we are not saying okay, we are deducting monthly. We are deducting because it's for 48 months, and this is the loan the person took. I don't want to start typing manually that and say equal to 324,000, or is it 240,000? 240,000. I don't want to start typing it manually, but yeah, I have the data here. So what I will ask myself is that I know that this data is on column D, right? And also is on row 2. So you can decide to make both column D and row 2 permanent because this is the data we are using. So that is what they did over here. And they now say that this loan amount is to be paid in 48 months. We now divided it by 48, we got this amount. So how much has it repaid? We now say this one plus this one plus, so we are saying from year to year is what he has paid. From column B, you know, I told us that when you have B3 to B3, it means that it's only B3 that he has paid up to. So that is what we have here. So in the second month, he paid another amount. So how much is the total amount that he has paid? He's going to say he has paid from B3 to B4. Now, B3 here, B and 3, this is the first amount he paid. So because he has paid this first amount, we want to now start adding from year. If you are in second month, he has paid year and year. If you are in third month, he has paid from year to year. So that's what they're doing over here. So we now come over here. The first one is he has paid from year to year. And that is what we have over here. So the sum of B absolute reference 3 to B3. That is what he has paid. The second month, he also paid the same equal sum. We are taking this amount, we divide it by 48 months. So yeah, he's paying the same amount. So how much has he paid in all? With payment update. The first month he has paid this, the second month he has paid this. So how much has he paid? He has paid from year to year. So that is what we did over here. The sum of B absolute reference 3 to B4. That's what he has paid. So like that, we just use that formula and everything is going to be telling us how much he has paid. So we can say that in the 10th month, if this is the first month, right? If this is the first month, how much has he paid in the 10th month? You just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So November 13th is the 10th month. So we just come over here. The formula on its own, we sum from B3 to B12 to tell how much is the total that he has paid. And this is the amount. So that is that about that. Then what is now remaining? We are now going to be looking at what is remaining, what is left from the loan that he took. So from here, we now say this is the actual loan he took, right? Which is the 2 minus what he has paid, the total that he has paid. So in the first month, he has only paid once. This is the once he has paid. So we now say equal to this place minus this place. So that is what we have over here. So D2 is permanent because that is where the loan amount is. We're just taking the loan amount. We are left seeing what he has paid so far. And that is what we are doing over here. So if you see this file, you can also go through it and you'll be able to understand what we are actually doing here. So with this, we can see the loan. We can see what is remaining. All these ones are what is remaining from the loan after he is paying instrumentally. So the first month, he paid this amount. The second month, he paid the same value. So how much has he paid so far? He has paid from year to year, the total of this, and that is what we have here. So you must understand how to use your absolute and relative referencing. What we use in this formula does not go beyond your knowledge of absolute and relative referencing. Where should be absolute? Where do you want to be relative? And that is what we did over here. So if you have a loan schedule that you want somebody is paying an equal installment, you don't need to start doing a lot of EDIC. We need to go through EDIC, trying to calculate how do I know what he has paid? How do I know what is remaining? Because your boss can just call you any day and say, okay, please, what is my loan balance? Probably your boss took loan, or maybe your boss also borrowed your company money. And at every point in time, when he's making payment, you want to see how much he has paid, how much is remaining, or how much he is owing the company. So you can also use this for staff that are owing salary. You can see that here, you're only making use of the sum and the absolute referencing stuff. So let me see if you have any question. Before I entertain any question, let's come to the right. Let's come to the right. We also see that we have a figure here, right? We also have a figure here in this place. This is loan balance as well. So what are they doing? We come over here. Here, we are also dividing this our I2. We are dividing it by equal amount. We are dividing it by 36. So this one, I want to pay this amount in the next 36 months. So we now divided it by 36. Everything equally, you are going to pay 9,000 every month. So what is the next thing? You want to know how much you have paid per month. So you come here. You have paid from G3 to G3. So you have paid only this amount. This is what you have paid. The next month, you must have paid this amount plus this amount plus this amount. So you must have paid from G absolute reference 3 to G4. And that's what you're going to have over here. So that is what they are doing over here. And that is the same thing that they did here. This is that they did here is what they are doing over here. Okay. So that's what they are doing over here. At the end of the day, you now say what is here, right? Minus what is here. You're going to get what is here. So here is permanent, then here is going to be relative. So we now say, check here. We are having this place that is permanent minus this place. We get this amount. So both of them, they are loan balances. So this could be a loan of somebody. This loan They want to pay it in the next how many days? In the next how many months? 48 months. Why the same loan amount? You want to pay it in the next 36 months. And that is what you are doing. So far, so good. I believe we we got what we need to get. Any question so far? Do we have any question? Any question? Okay, I want to believe we understand absolute and relative reference. And when you come here, you can easily understand what is happening. So for emphasis, probably I can add some notes for you to understand the explanation that, okay, this is here is actually the loan that the person took. And this person is going to repay this loan amount in the next 48 months. So what do? Each month, the person is paying an equal installment. That is what we came to do here. Each month, the person is paying equal installment. We now say, because this is the way the value is, but this is where we want the answer to be. We now come and say, okay, our D absolute reference 2 divided by 48. So because it's 48 months, and that is what we did. Then here, we now say, okay, at the end of each month, how much has this person actually paid? At the end of this month, you can say, this is just the first month payment. This person is paying this month, this amount this month. So he has paid. How much has he paid? He has paid only this amount. That's what we are saying. In the next month, how much has he paid? He has paid this amount. Sorry, this amount, the first amount that he paid, plus this amount. So that's what we have over here. Then the next month, which is this month, he has paid from beginning this amount to the third month. And that is what we are showing over here. So it means that in this case, since he has paid this one, we are going to start from here. We're going to put a column to this side. You know that column like this is different from the two dots. So when I told us yesterday when we were looking at table, from table 1 to table 4, you know there will be a column. You know column now, that's a sign, not alphabet, sign at the middle, okay? So that is what this is about. So I believe that this will not give us any challenge. This loan, they are paying it in 46 months. Sorry, 48 months. They are paying it in 48 months. 48 months. Why this other one that is here, they are paying it in 36 months. They are paying this one in 36 months. So that is what we have. Then all this place here, we don't need all these things here. So let me delete all these ones. We don't need all these ones here. I think I was the one that put it. Okay, we don't need all these ones. So they are paying this one in 36 months. This one, they are paying 36 months. Why this one? They are paying this one in 48 months. So that is what that is about. So now we are done with the if. And I believe everybody understands what we can use if for, what we can achieve with if. You've seen that a teacher can use it. Someone in the insurance line can use it. Someone that is tracking vehicle renewal can also use it. So we are done with that. Let's now move away from that. Remember, under the logical function, they said we have three things under the logical function. We have the if. Let me go back to the beginning. We have the if. Where is that okay, the function information, right? So under the logical function, which we are still looking at, we have the if function, which we have looked at. We already understand that the if statement, the if function have three things to consider, and we all know that already. We will go into the next one, which is the and the or. That is what we are going to now. So let's continue. Let's go and check what we have in that sheet. Are we following? Are we following?
Yes, we are.
Yes,
Am
yes, sir, we are following.
Am I too fast?
No.
Okay, fine. Now let's look at this one now. We are done with the logical function. Sorry, yeah, we have done with if. If is under the logical. So we have three functions under the logical function. We have the if, we have the and we have the or. So we now have there now function name, and function name, or. So what is a function group? They are all logical functions. Okay. Then what is the function used? This one returns one value if a condition you specify evaluates true, and another value if it evaluates false. So that is what they are saying. This one now, it returns one value if the condition you specify evaluates to true, and another value if it evaluates to false. Let's look at what we are to do. So here now, it's a logical test, all right? Function argument is a logical test. Value if true, value if false. So let's check very well and let's see what is happening. So here, we have data here, right? We have data here. We also have data here. So now, what the answer you're going to get the answer you're going to, so unlike before that you might need to put let's click on it. Unlike before that you might need to let this true, you might need to put it in your formula, like you put double quote in front of whatever text you want to use. Here you don't even need to put anything. When you are using the and function, okay, it returns either true or false. That is what it is. Return a text. It's text it normally returns. So the first thing we are going to do is we say equal to, we now put our and, we start what we are doing. We say 1. So let me click here and then let me now, can you see what we have in this, let me make this thing wide so that you understand what the and function is about. So the and function, let's make it wide. Okay, so can you see what we have here under this place? And we now open our bracket. We now say 1 is less than F3. So what is our F3? Look at our F3. Our F3 is 50, right? So we say 1 is less than F3, comma. We also said F3 is also less than 100. So 1 is less than F3, which is true. Our F3 is 50. So 1 is actually, in reality, 1 is less than F3 in reality. We now put our comma. We also now say that 50 is less than 100. So both of them is true. 1 is less than 50. 50 is also less than 100. So let's now go back to what they said we should know. They say that under the and logical function, it returns one value, right? If a condition you specify evaluates to true, and it returns another value if it evaluates to false. So now it returns one value, only one value. Now, this condition that we specify now, here, the condition evaluates to true because 1 is less than 50 and 50 is also less than 100. So both are true. So that is why we have what we call true here. That's why it gave us true here. It will not give you numbers. It's going to give you text. It's text that's going to return to you. Okay. So now, why do we get true here? Let's come and check what we have in this box. They say that because 50 is between 1 and 100. So therefore, the answer is true. 50 is in reality between 1 and 100. So the answer is true. Let's now go and check the next thing. Here, we have another formula. Okay. Now this formula now, we are now using the if function. Now you know that the if function, when you are making that if function, one, you are going to get one answer you set if the statement you made is correct. You're going to get another answer if the statement you made is false. So now we are using the if function and the and function together. We know that this and function now, it returns one answer if what you specify is correct. If everything you specify there is true, it's going to give you the answer either is true or is false. Okay. So we're not using if function to do it. We're going to make a statement, right? Then we now set answers that we need. If the statement that we made, if it's true, we say, we made this statement, we say, and we now say that 1 is less than F4. What's our F4? Our F4 is 100, which is correct, right? We now also see that F4 is also less than 100. Is F4 now, is it less than 100? Somebody should unmute.
No.
It's not less than 100. So you can see that this one will not evaluate to be true. So this one will evaluate to be false. So assuming both of them evaluated to be true, Excel would have picked the answer that you set as the first answer, which is F4. It would have given us 140 here. However, because what you set did not evaluate to be true, Excel will not give us this text. I told us in Excel, whatever you want to show in your bracket, you can use it as a text. We now say this value is out of range. So we now put it as a text because we are using if. When you are using if, we can actually send words to display on your screen. So from here now, we've seen that we can use the AND function. AND function, we either return a word like true or false. So it's a logical function. If we look at it, if what you said is logical, it will either say what you said is logical. That's what you say. You will say it's logical. If what you said is not logical, it will say what you said is not logical. So it's either going to give you true or it will give you false. That is what the AND is used for. And the AND is not like your if, that is a statement that will return one answer that you set or the other one. When you're using an AND, you don't need to set any answer. Just make your statement. It's only your statement you need to make. Excel will now check the statement you have made. Excel will now pick whether your statement you made is true or the statement you made is false. So when you are doing the AND function, no need to set any answer because Excel is not picking your own answer. Excel is going to return whether the statement you have made is true or whether the statement you have made is false. So let's look at this statement again for the last time. We say equal to and, we want to make a statement. We say 1 is less than 50, comma, and then 50 is less than 100. So Excel will look at that statement. Is this statement correct? If the statement is correct, Excel will say it is true. But if the statement is wrong, Excel will say false. So that is what that is about. So you can also use this your and in an if statement. You know that this your and is either going to return either true or false. So if your and statement returns true, Excel will pick the first answer you set for true because you're using an if function. Excel will pick the first answer you set for true. But if the and function you set is false, Excel will pick the answer you set for false. So that is what they do. So you can see that we are mixing up the and the if function in this formula. So let's come to the right and see what we have here. So here they are explaining now. They are saying that we use the if function and we use and to make a statement, our first statement. When we are done with the statement, we put our comma, we set the first answer we want Excel to pick. If this statement here evaluates to true, then we now put another answer we want Excel to pick. If the statement we set here evaluates to false, and obviously displays the second number above if it is between 1 and 100. Otherwise, display a message the value is out of range. So that is what is explained over here. So I don't need to overemphasize that. Let's come to this side. They also, I think it's the same thing they're explaining. Displays the first number above if it's between 1 and 100. That is if it's true. Otherwise, if it's false, it display the other number. Otherwise, displays a message 50. Okay, so you can also use that in case you want to use okay. So yeah, so you can do another one here. So they are telling you to do this function here. to do this function here. So we've not done this one here. So let's do it there. So what we want to do is that want to use the if, want to make an if statement, then want to now put this and, and is going to evaluate whether true or false. And if also works with evaluating a statement whether it's true or false. So when I make this statement, we say 1 is less than F3. What is our F3? Our F3 is 50. You now say that 1 is less than F3, and F3 is also less than 100. So F3 is also less than 100, which is true. Our F3 is 50. So 1 is less than 50, which is correct. And 50 is also less than 100. So that means that this statement we made here using the and is going to be true. So what will Ezel do? Ezel will pick F3. And what is F3? F3 is 50. However, if the statement we made here is false, Ezel would have picked this value is out of range. So that is what we say Ezel to do. So let's start. We now say equal to, we want to make an if statement, right? We open our brackets. Then we also now make an and statement. And we know that an and statement is also a logical function that will tell us whether something is true or something is false. So we want to make an and statement, and we want to say 1, okay, is less than our F3. What is F3? This is our F3, 50, right? So it's less than F3. We now put our comma. We now also say that our F3 also, this F3 again, right, is less than 100. So we now close our bracket. So what do we want Excel to do? If this thing is correct, we want Excel to give us, so once we close our bracket, we now put a comma to show that we are done with the statement we want to make. Then what answer do we want Excel to pick? If that statement is correct, we want Excel to give us F3. Sorry, F3. However, if the statement is wrong, we want to now set a text to say this is, remember, if you are making a statement, you have to start it with a double quote. This is out of range. So we now put our another double quote at the end. Then we now close this thing. I will now put enter. I can see here now. This is what we are getting here. Okay, so that's what we are getting. So it's as easy as that. You know that for your and statement, for and function, you're only making a statement. You're not setting any answer, but it's only when you're using an if that you need to set an answer that Excel is going to pick. So let's come to the right and see what is happening. So they say, note, try or in place of and to see its function. So let's try or in place of and, okay? So this thing we just finished doing, let's go and try or in place of and. So in place of us using and over here we use and here, right? So let's try or and see what Excel does when we use or. So here we want to say, we say equal to, right? Equal to, we now use or, we now open a bracket, we now say 1 is less than F3. We know that our F3 is actually 50, comma. We now also say that F3 is also less than 100. We now close our bracket and then we now click enter. So it is also giving us true. So let's go back to the beginning and see the difference between the and the or. We come to our function information, okay? We now come to our logical function. Say returns true if all its arguments are true. So if all the arguments you set, if they are true, it returns true. And returns false if one or more argument is false. So when you're using the and function, it returns true only when all the arguments you set is true. However, it returns false even if only one of the argument is false. That means that you could make two, you could say two things in a sentence, and one of it is true, the other one is false. But because one is false, it's going to say it's false. But if it's going to pick it as true, everything you said in that sentence will be true for it to pick true. However, if you are using the or function is different. Returns true if any argument is true. So if you use the or, it returns true if any of the argument is true. Returns false if all the arguments are false. So it's like opposite of each other. It's opposite of each other. For when you're using the AND function, okay, it only returns true when all the argument you set is true. However, if one of the arguments you set is false, Excel will pick false. But if all the arguments are true, Excel will pick true. That is when you're using the AND function. But if you are using the OR function, if any of the argument you set is true, Excel will say what the statement is true. So that means that you could make a sentence, and then inside the sentence you have like 5 keys in the sentence. If one of it is true and the other four is false, Excel will say the statement is true. However, all the argument needs to be false for Excel to say it is false. So you must know the difference between the AND function and the OR function, and they are very easy. They are very easy to do. So they're very easy to do. When you are using the AND and the IF function, you are only making a statement. You don't need to set any answer, whether true or false. Excel is going to tell you whether the statement you made is true on its own, or it's going to tell you whether the statement you made is false on its own. So let's continue. Now we are done with let me see. Yeah, we are done with the AND and the OR function. Does anybody have any question before we continue? Do you have any question? Do you understand it? Do you need clarity? Anybody? Is there anybody that is lost on the call? Feel free to speak up. Are you lost on the call? Feel free. Are we together? Can you hear me? Okay. I believe I'm not the only one on the call. I believe we are together.
Can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. So let's continue. Now, it's gradual, it's slow, but we are getting somewhere. So the next thing is that, thank you very much. Now, the next thing is that we want to now look at the average. To use the average. So we have left the logical function. Where are we now? I think we are in the, is it in the mathematical, or let me check where we are now. We have left the logical function. Now we are now in the, okay, not here. We are looking at average. So we are in the statistic function now. So the statistical function. We are done with the logical function. We are coming straight to the statistical function. So let's go again. We are looking at the first one, which is average. After average, we look at count. After count, we look at counter, count if, and count ifs. Then conver, maximum, minimum. Okay, so let's quickly look at that, the statistical function, and let's look at the usage as well. Okay, so here we are.
Hello,
so
sir.
this is the, I can hear you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on.
Yes, sir. What is the practical usage of this or and what is the relevancy?
Okay, so yeah, most times you may not appreciate it now, but when we get to when we're looking at VLOOKUP, okay, when we're looking at VLOOKUP, I think that is when you will understand. When you are trying to go to a place, you are looking for something, okay, when you are searching for something, that is where you understand the relevance. So here, the AND and the OR function, they are telling us that only return true when all the conditions or all the arguments are true. So if we want to do VLOOKUP, and you know, you can check something and you see Peter, P-E-T-E-R, Peter. You can also see P-E-T-E. Okay, so now Peter with the R and the PET or PETA, Peter. Both of them are sounding alike, but are they the same? No. So when you are using this and, Excel is going to only return a value only if all the arguments are true. So for instance, you can check like you are comparing. Let me use this one. We are comparing you want to do reconciliation, okay? You want to do reconciliation of your bank statement and your cash book. Now, you know that there are descriptions. In that descriptions, you check the description in your bank statement and want to check the description in your cash book. And you can see 20 here, you can see 20, different 20, but we are checking for the description. Are the description matching each other? So that is what we are going to. So we want it to give us true only if all the arguments are true. Is the description in our bank statement, is it exactly the same description in our cash book? So this will tell us, we can use the and for it. So this and now is going to help us to give us the right answer that, okay, it's true, the description are perfect match, okay? You have no issue. But if you use this and function, if you only return true when all the arguments are true, probably you say Peter transportation to bank, Peter. So it's even from transportation, Peter. So it's only going to return true when all the arguments are true. However, if one of the arguments is false, it will say it's false. For instance, we say what we are trying to check is we want to check in our cash book, we have transportation to Peter. That's what we want to check, or salary to Peter for December. Now you now check it against what you have, and you have 70,000. Then in the other place, you also see salary, December. You also saw 70,000. So you want to match it. This 70,000, is it the same 70,000 that is here? The description they are looking at like, is it the same description? So if you use and we only return true when all the arguments are true. But if one of the arguments is false, and we return false, it's going to tell you that your description in this one and 70,000 is not the same with this description against the 70,000. However, if you use or for your function, it will return true if one of the arguments are true. So we can say transportation Peter. You can also say transportation to Peter January. Okay, so and then we are seeing 70. We assume that 70,000 and 70,000 should be the same figure we are looking for. But if you also have to check to make sure that everything, only one of the arguments is true for it to pick true. But if for it to pick false, all of the argument must be false. So when you're using and, is exact opposite of or. And or, they're not the same. Do you understand what I just explained now? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. This you are doing well, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so you can see that we also nest it in our formula. So we nested it in our formula, and you can see how we use it in an if statement. So you can use and or anywhere. If you use it in an if statement, for instance, let's go back to this sheet. We come to this sheet now. We use this thing in this if statement now. We are saying that 1 is less than F4. F4 is 104. So we say 1 is less than F4, and F4 is also less than 100. What is F4? F4 is 104. So we are saying 1 is less than 104, which is correct. We now also say that 104, which is F4, is less than 100. It's wrong. So if you use this one now, if you are using and, for and to return true to you, all the arguments must be true. So because we are using and, because one of it is wrong, it returns that it is false. And that is why Excel now pick this value is out of range. But if you use or, if it's or that you use, if one of the arguments is wrong, it will still pick that true. and Excel would have picked F4 here. So it depends on what you are using. So let's try and use, let's change this thing now. Let's only change this. So you can see that here we have this value is out of range. Let's now just change this thing from and. Let's put all there. Let's put all. You will see what will happen. So let's put all here. OR, or, and press enter. You can see. So now, even though one of these arguments is wrong, because we are using or, it will still return true. But if you want the accurate, the perfect thing that you will be sure that, okay, my mind is at rest, this thing, there's no error. Use and is going to, we only return true only when all the things are true. So when I put and here, you press enter. So that is it. So I hope that is okay. I hope you understand. So the next thing we are going to now straight, we are going to the statistics function. Under the statistics function, we have average, okay? We have count if, and these ones are very easy. So when you're talking about average, let's quickly go and check what we need to do. We need to get the average of things, okay? When you're getting average, it's like the same thing as mean, Abi. Average and mean. Do we have difference between average and the mean? Can somebody explain? Okay, so the function name is average. It's a statistical function. It returns the average, that is the arithmetic mean. I said it. It returns the average, that is the arithmetic mean of the argument. So now function argument, numbers. When I come here, when I say the names of all these people, right? We talk about their gross salary. This is their gross salary. This is their tax payable. This is their net income. So you can see that this is useful for an accountant. So they now tell you that, okay, what is the average of the salary that we paid in January? What is the average salary we paid in January? Or they can say, what is the average salary we pay each year? So year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. So they ask you, what is the average? What is the mean? We can even say, okay, find the mean of the salary we pay in January, in February, in March, and everything. So you can see that. So we want to get the mean of the gross salary that we paid, gross income. Okay, so this gross income, the tax, and also the net income. So when you're doing this, it's very easy. Just say equal to mean, equal to average, We come here, we say equal to, we now say average. Open your bracket and then select the range from G3 to G what? To G6. So you now close your bracket and then you press enter. So, oh, sorry. Did I make a mistake in this thing?
Yes, the average. You put AD.
Oh, yeah. That's true. There is oh, there's no D there. Sorry. Oh, sorry about that. There's no D. So press enter. Hey. So I made a mistake in it. So that is how we got the average of the gross income. So this is very easy. And this is just like primary school, whatever. So the statistical function, they are always very easy. So we have statistical function, and I'm sure nobody is going to ask me what is the usefulness of this, because this is straight to the point. We can always know the usefulness of average, okay? So we are going to the next one. We are going to the count, and I'm going to tell you how important this count is. Though it looks very like irrelevant, but it's very important, okay? So here we have count. Now the function group, true, right? They say that count the number of cells that contains number. Only the number of cells that contain number is what it's going to count, okay? Only the number of cells that contain number is what is going to count. Then the next thing is that, within the list of arguments, use count to get the number of entries in a number field that is in a range or array of numbers. So what do we do? Just say equal to count, okay? Equal to count, and select the range that you want. Equal to count and select the range that you want. Okay, so yeah, so this is used for numbers. Now, if you want to count numbers, you use this count. But if you want to use for text, if you want to count text, you now use counter. Okay, use counter for text and use count for numbers. So that is the difference between counter and count. So use counter for text. We use count for numbers. I hope you understand that. So we just simply say equal to counter because here we have text here, right? We have text here. So we now say equal to counter. So let's try it. We say, let's come here. So here, we now say equal to, because we are counting text, we now say count, we now put a counter, then we open our brackets, we select the range of where the data are. We select it, we close our bracket, and we press enter. So counter, we count text. Why count? We count numbers. So when I say equal to count, count is for number, counter is for text. So we now come and select the range, and it's going to tell us what the answer is. Fine, so that's that. Are we together? Did we get this one also? Can I move further? So if you are doing a thumbs up, I may not see your hand. So can I move on? Okay. Yeah, somebody, if you have any question, you can always raise your hand. Then we can tweet the question. But let's continue. So I believe there's no question. So now, how do we use counter? Let me quickly explain that before we go on. I told us that the other day I've shown us how to use transpose, right? I gave us a detailed explanation of how to use transpose. Probably you have names, gross salaries that they receive in so month and all that. You discover that when you want to use those gross salary for your tax computation, tax usually is always done annually per year, okay? But in a situation whereby the gross salary of the staff want to use for this computation is not up to 12 months, how do you do it? So you discover that most times when the salary is not up to 12 months and you are using payee computation for annual, you discover that that person, it will be telling you that the person does not even have any money to be subjected to tax because we are comparing 1 month salary to, you are subjecting 1 month salary to 12 month tax. So most times when you have those people, let me quickly show us something. So when you have those people, like you have the other day we already made a pre-made list. Let's see that if that list remains is still available. So we say John, Control Enter. They will now drag from the bottom, drag it down. Is this still available? Okay, yeah, the name is still available. That's beautiful. So you can see that the pre-made list we made for names is still available. You see how important it is now. So now for these people now, we have their names here. We have their names. We have their gross salary. Gross salary. Yes, so let's just call it gross, okay? So gross. Now, these people now, we are looking at the gross salary that will pay them for 12 months. So we are going to have gross for 12 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 months, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we now say Control V. So that is the gross salary that will pay them for January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So this John, he was available for only 6 months. For instance, it was available for only 6 months. It was available for only 6 months. Now, the next person was available for the total month, the total year. So Oh, sorry. So the other person was available for the total year. Then the next person was available for only 1 month. The next person was available for 2 months. Okay. Then the next person was available for, let's say 5 months, and so on and so forth. So once you have all this now, you want to now have your total gross salary, right? You want to have your total gross salary. So we have to put total here, total. Then I told us that if you want to sum, quickly put your cursor everywhere you want your answer to be, and press Alt equals, and you are summing everything at once. So let's check. Now, another thing I want to tell us is that we can trace precedence and trace dependence. Okay, so I click my cursor here. I want to check where did my summing, where did it get to? At times, always check it for better understanding. So press your control key. Okay, when you have clicked on that place, press your control key and check your keyboard. There is something that looks like open bracket, but it's not the usual one. It's not the usual open bracket that you always have in number 9 and 0. If you check your keyboard, you see that number 9, on top of number 9, you have your open bracket. On top of your number 0, you have your closing bracket. But go down, you see that there is another bracket in your keyboard. So that other bracket is what we are using. So hold your control key and press that other bracket, open bracket, that other one. You press it, you see that here we are tracing that, okay, what is depending on this formula? What is depending on this formula? So you can see the total range here was added. Okay, so let's quickly go and write that one down so that we don't forget. Okay, so trace dependence and trace precedence. So let's go and write it down. Okay, so here we come here. So to trace dependence, but let me be sure that I don't change it for each other. One should be control, okay, control, then plus this key. So this thing. So this is how to trace dependence. So you can see that this is not the regular, it's not actually the regular open bracket. It's not the regular open bracket, so it's different. Okay, so let me change this thing to another color because I want it to show color red. Okay, so I come and click here and I'll click on OK. So you can see now to trace dependence, you press your control key and plus your open bracket key, but this is not the normal open bracket. Then to now trace precedence, to trace precedence. I hope I'm correct. So to trace the precedence, Control D. Here we now come here. We now put this. Okay. So to trace precedence, to trace dependence. But let me be sure of the formula so that I don't mix it up for each other. So this is what most times auditors they use to check your formula. Are your formula, are they calculating accurately? Let's come to data. No, not data. Let's come to formulas. When you come to formulas, come to the right-hand side. You will see trace dependence. So to trace dependence now, okay, what is the shortcut? Yeah, so it is control plus open that open bracket. So I said that was wrong. So this is precedence. So this is what trace precedence is. Let me carry this one. Let me carry this one like this. I'll carry this one. I'll put it here. Then this one, I'll carry this one. I'll put it down. Exactly. So this is it. So you trace dependence. To trace dependence, this is the answer. To trace precedence, sorry, this is the answer. To trace dependence, this is the answer. So here, when you are trying to trace dependence, what are you doing? Let's go and check again. When you are tracing dependence, sorry, when you are tracing precedence, sorry. When you are tracing precedence, you are asking yourself that, look at it. This my formula that I put here. What is it calculating on? Is it calculating on 25 and 50? So you are tracing it. So if you say you want to sum, this will help you to go and look at what are the cells that was summed. What are the cells that was summed? Then the other one here, we say trace dependence. So when you're trying to trace dependence, you are pressing control plus right column. Control plus right column. So let's go and see now. So that is how we, then you can also put arrow. So there's no shortcut for this one. To put arrow, you have to come to this place, this formula to do that. You can put arrow, you can decide to remove arrow. So let's go back to what we are doing. Let's go back to that count. Let's go back to that count. Okay, so this is it. This is the count, right? So yeah, you can see that now. This formula, we are trying to trace precedence. We're trying to trace that what is calculating into this from what into this place, into this total. What data is calculating into the formula? So we just press our control plus open bracket key, not the normal open bracket, but this other open bracket, and you can see all the place that it is summing. Okay, it's summing all this place. Now let's now try and do something again. Let's say we want to trace the other one. We want to trace dependence. So press control, and then we now press the right arrow key, the right bracket, which you will not get anything because nothing is this our formula is not feeding into anywhere. But let's assume that, let's do something. Let's say at the end of the day, we have this total like this, okay? Then we now want to now have the grand total of all the totals. So let's say here, we want to have all the grand total of all the totals. We now say alt equals to, yes, we now have it like this. So now, this is total this way. We also want to now have all the grand total, right? Like all this total, I want to add everything together as one total here. So we can come back to this place to trace our precedence, sorry. We press control, open bracket. We are tracing our precedence. Now let's now go and trace our dependence. So if I press trace precedence, I come like this. If I press trace dependence, I'll come back to that place. Okay. So control plus left bracket, open bracket, you get this one. Then control plus right bracket, you come back to where you are. So where I am now also, let me now press control plus right bracket. You can see it's telling me that this place is feeding into this place. You can see. Let me come again. I click here. I press control with right bracket. So it's jumping to that place. That is tracing dependence. When you are tracing dependence, you are pressing control plus right bracket. When we are pressing precedence, control plus left bracket. Okay, so it's tracing precedence. Now, when you are tracing precedence, you're asking yourself, what data do I use to get this total? That is what you're asking yourself. What data do I use to get this total? Okay, if I press it like this and I press my open bracket, I say, okay, these are all the data I use when I was trying to get this total. Alternatively, I can come here, I can say, okay, where which of the summation or which of the totals is this my January for gross? did it calculate into? Okay, which of the summation or which of the total did this my this thing for this in sorry, I can just press control right arrow. Sorry, control right sorry. Oh, so let me put it here again. So this is it. So to know what data I used for my total. To know what data I use for my total, I'll need to press, control plus this open bracket, right? So that is like you are tracing precedence. Like what you're asking yourself, what data did I use for my totals? Okay, so this is my total. Yeah, I'm asking what data did I use for my total? So I press control plus open bracket. I'm tracing it. Now, at times, let me not tell you what Excel does. Most times when you're trying to use shortcut, let's say we have information here. Okay, we have information here. We skipped. When we are trying to use shortcut in Excel, this is what happens. Let me show us. At times, Excel will only solve to where there's data. If there's a gap in between, you can see this place now. There's a gap here. In between here, there's a gap in this place. Okay. Now Excel will only add all the data it can see from where the formula is to where it can see data. If there's any break, it will not add across the break. It won't add any data after this space. So let's now try it. We now come and put our cursor where we want all the summations to be. We now press Alt plus equal to. That is the auto sum undo. Alt plus equal to is the auto sum undo. So why is it getting 0 for me here? I'm coming. Okay, so let's now trace it. What data did I use for my information? I press control plus open bracket. You can see because there's a break here, because there's a break in this place, Excel stopped all my calculations. Oh, yeah, all my calculations did not go beyond here. So Excel is only solving for what is here, only what is here. So let's now check. We want to check what. Let's now go and check let's go and put our arrow. We come here. We now come to the right and we say show arrow. We click on show. Oh, sorry. Why is it not answering me? I'm coming. Let me press again. Let me come and check again. I come here to the formula. It's also show arrow. Where is it? Where is the to show arrow? This is to remove arrow. Yeah, I'm coming. Remove all arrow. What about to put all arrow? Show formula. There's a place to show arrow now. Why is it only showing remove arrow? Okay. So remove arrow. And here is remove precedent. Okay. Remove dependent. Okay, so let's say that there is let's try something first. Let's say, because I wonder why this is not showing what I wanted to do. I'm coming. So yeah, I want to press okay. So let me go back to this place and see. It's supposed to show arrow and why am I not getting to show arrow? Trace dependence, trace precedence. What about arrow? Evaluate formula. Define name, use in formula, create from selection. I can't see where there's a place that you normally show arrow before, but it's not showing arrow now. I don't understand. Okay, so this one is only removing arrow, it's not showing arrow. Okay. No voila. So don't worry, I will still get that to you, but I'll be able to explain to you that if you want to check so this is what we're looking at. To know what data I use for my totals, I will need to press control plus open bracket. So, and that is what we are doing over here. And it's very important for you to always check where is your formula adding. You can see that anytime there's a space, there's a break, Excel will not go, if you are using that Alt equals to. So the auto sum undo. So let's say auto the auto sum undo. Is it undo? Is it undo? Or is it formula? The auto sum undo. Let me just put it that way. Okay, is alt plus equals to. Oh, sorry. Alt plus equals to. That's how you get the auto sum undo. So let me make this place bigger. Let's come here and voila. Okay, so this is it. So the autosum undo is alt plus equals. Okay, so when you press that autosum undo, you need to be very careful so that you don't think that your summation is accurate, whereas it's not accurate. Okay, so when you press alt equals, still make sure that you come and check your, for instance, look at this place now. It's showing that there's no data here at all, whereas there's a data here. But anytime there's a break, Excel will stop where there's a break. But let's assume there's no break here. Let's take away figure here. Let's assume there is no break. Let's assume that everything continues. Excel will sum everything. So let me delete all this and start afresh again. So I just press, I press where I want my summation to be. I press my alt equals to, and Excel will go and add everything at once. So if you now click here now, you trace precedence. You are tracing precedence. So you are seeing that Excel is adding everything across this place, which is fine. It's correct. Check the other one also. Press Control plus open bracket is correct. Then the next one also come here. Control plus open bracket is correct. Control plus open bracket is correct. Control plus open bracket is correct. So to go back to your to now ask yourself that, okay, which of these summation is this my data calculating on? Like I'm on this data now. Which of this my summation is this data calculating on? So I'll just press here and I'll press Control plus the close bracket. Control plus close bracket. So you can see it has jumped here that this is where it is calculating to. So I click here and I press Control plus close bracket. You can see the thing has jumped to this side to say that this thing, this formula is using this data here. Okay, so check here. Let me print that place. Let me color that place so that you can see that when it jumps there. Okay, color. Okay, so now check now. I come here and I click on this place. I say which of the formula or which of the summation is this gross for January? Is it calculating on? I just press my Control plus the right bracket, and that is that, and it comes to this side. So I need to learn this trace dependence, trace precedence. I also needed to show you how to also draw arrow, but obviously I'm not able to get where to start to put arrow. Here it's just showing remove arrow. So I'll still come back to you on that. Before, it will not only show put arrow, instead of me to press my Control plus open bracket here before, I can just draw an arrow. An arrow will tell you that this thing is working with all this data that is here. But I'll come back on that to tell you how to achieve it. I don't know, maybe this my what's it called now? I don't know if my version of Excel does not show that thing, because here, apart from me saying remove arrow, it's supposed to also show arrow, and I'm surprised that it's not there. I'm surprised. Okay, so that is that for that. Let's now move along. Okay, so I was trying to tell you why you need to count. I was trying to tell you why you need to count. Let's assume that here we've done this, then we now want to do our, you have gotten your gross salary, right? So when you have gotten your gross salary here, the next thing to do is that you need to now start calculating your pension, calculating your rent relief, calculating your tax payable, and so on and so forth. So if you just calculate it like that, this one will be calculating on only 1 month salary, because this is 1 month salary. If you come here, this is 1 month salary. So to know in order for you to know how many months we are dealing with. So yeah, let's use count. Let's use count. Yeah, let's come here. Let's say to know how many months this gross salary is. We now say equal to count. When you say count, you open your bracket, then you come and select all the range you want Excel to count for you. So I want Excel to count from year to year. I want Excel to count from year to year. So press to enter. Then you can see that here it's telling us that for this place, it's only gross salary of 6 months that we have here. So let's check for others. Okay, so here it's saying that here we have only gross salary for 1 month. Here we have only gross salary for 2 months. Here we have gross salary for 7 months. Why do we need this? Let's assume we want to calculate our rent relief, right? We want to calculate our rent relief. Yeah, so we want to calculate our rent relief, right? So we know that our rent relief is, so we are going to have our actual rent. So let me come up here. We have our actual rent, right? Actual. So here we have something like, okay, let's have some data here quickly. Okay. No, our rent cannot be as small as that. Okay, so let's come here. Let's check again. Yeah, like that, like that, like that. Okay, so we have our actual rent here. Actual rent. Okay, then want to now claim our relief. So we now say relief, rent relief, consolidated relief, consolidated. Let's just call it consolidated relief, rent relief, rent relief. So remember, we normally use our if formula to nest that information, right? So let's quickly nest our information for our rent relief. We now come here. We already know what the law says. The law says 20% of our annual salary or 500,000, whichever is lower is what we're picking. So we now say, okay, Excel want to use an if function. Let's say if we open our bracket, we now make our statement. We now say 20% of our annual rent times, that is 20% times the annual rent. This is where the annual rent is, okay? Times the annual rent, right? We now say that it is actually greater than 500. So we say it's greater than 500,000. So when we are done with it, we put our comma. We just make any statement, okay? We say 20% of our rent, of our annual rent is actually greater than 500. So if our 20% of our rent is greater than 500, what did the law say we should do? Hello?
500.
The lower.
So the law say we should 500. So we've made our statement. Mute your mic. We made our statement. We say 20% of our annual rent is greater than 500. We've made our statement. So because we know what the law asks us to do, the law says we should pick 500. So set your answer as 500. 1, 2, 3. Then you put your comma. So now, what if the annual rent, what if 20% of our annual rent is not greater than 500? What now happens? Pick 20% times our annual rent times R10. Okay, we now close our bracket. Then we now click on enter. What is happening? What did I do that is wrong? Oh, what did I do that is wrong actually? 20% of R10 is greater than 500, comma. Then, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to put this thing. So I'm supposed to put to close a bracket at the end of my statement. So at the end of my statement, I'm supposed to close the bracket before I now set my answer. So that's the mistake. I'll close my bracket, then I'll now set my answer before. So let's try this way. So I say 20% of the annual rent is greater than 500. I close my bracket before I now put my comma. Then if Excel checks the answer and see that it's true, Excel is to pick 500. But if Excel check the answer and see that it's false, Excel is to pick the 20% of my annual rent. So click on enter. What is it saying now? there is a problem with this formula. Note, typing a not trying to type a formula, then you have to I feel that I need to put a double quote at the end of this thing. So we need to put a double quote. So we say if we open a bracket, we now made our statement 20% times the annual rent is greater than 500. We close our brackets, then we put a comma. We are done with the statement. We now set the first answer, we put a comma. We now set the second answer, we put a comma. Then I think we still need to now, do we need to put double quotes? Let me put double quotes. Let me see. Double quote at the end. Okay, let's click on enter. Okay. Let me undo. Let me start again.
That sign that you use after the if, I think change that sign. That bracket close.
Okay.
Bracket open. Yes, change that sign.
Okay. Yeah. That's the issue. Thank you very much. I was wondering that what is the issue. Thank you, sir. Okay, so let me come here. Let me start again. I want to undo everything I have in this bucket. Fine. Thank you very much for calling my attention. I didn't see that, but I will need to undo it. So now let's delete everything in this bucket. All right. So now it's very important you pay attention to every details. Otherwise, you will not know what is wrong with the formula. Everything we did was correct, but the bracket we used, the open bracket we used. So we now say equal to, we now say if. Now remember, you need to open bracket, don't go and use that other bracket that we use when we're trying to trace dependence or trace precedence. Don't use it. So we now say equal to, we open a bracket. If we want to make a statement, we say 20% times our annual rent, which is R5, right? We say is, let's use less than now. We can say it's less than, or let's use greater than. Anyone, let's use greater than. Okay, it's greater than 500,000. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So once we are done with that statement, we now close our brackets and put a comma. The next thing we want to do is that we now say if this 20% of our annual rent is greater than 500,000, the Lord asks us to pick 500,000. 1, 2, 3. However, if it's wrong, the law is saying that pick 20% times your annual rent. Our annual rent is R10. So once you have done that, you close your bracket and let's click on enter. Okay, we have to put double colon, double. I think I need to put double. Yeah, so it's double. This I'll put now. Double brackets. Yes, at the end. Hold on. No. If I want to put another bracket at the beginning as well, 500. Okay, let me see. Logical function, value if true, comma.
Remove the bracket after the first 500.
This one, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, sorry, that's true. So, yeah, that's it. So this is what the error is. That first bracket is not supposed to be there actually. So you now come over here also, you take away this other bracket, take away this other bracket here also. Yeah. So that's it. So equal to it works now. So what we have done when we do this one, so what we do is that we made a statement. The first statement we've made, we put a comma, we now set our answer, we put another comma, then we now set the other answer, and that is how we're able to get this. So you discover that when you have this like this, you are using the annual rent. This is the annual rent. Now look at what is happening. You are the annual rent now, you are giving an annual rent to 1 month salary. So it's not going to be okay. So what will you do? You need to multiply this by the numbers of months that these people worked for. So we can quickly say, you come over here and come and put something here and say times how many months did this guy work for? He worked for only 6 months. So we now say 6 divided by 12. You put enter. Okay, this one also, how many months? 11. So So we come here, we say times 11 months out of 12 months. We put enter. Yeah. So here also, you now say, how many months is this? 1 month. You now say times 1/12. Okay, we put enter. So let me undo first. I'm coming. I want to check something. Undo. Okay, that is 6. Okay, we do. Making it, is it correct? Undo 68,000. If I, yeah.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, it's correct.
Because you're doing
Yes, I'm looking at
proration.
the figure.
You're doing
Yes,
proration.
I'm looking at the figure. So it's because there is a lot of, there is 2 dots after it. I thought it's still giving me 57,000. So I'm conscious. So that is how it is. So this one have 20 decimals after it. So we can also correct that. But let's do that first. Let's come here also. How many months is it? This is 2 months. We now say come here. We now say times 2 divided by 12. We now click on enter. Then the last one, this is for 7 months. We now come here. We now say times 7 divided by 12. So you can see that this count that we did here help us to be able to know how many months these people did. So it's easier for us than to now start going back and forth. To now be looking at each of them. Okay, this one is 6 months. You go and do your formula. Then you come again, you go and check. Okay, this is 11 months. You go and do it. No, once you just do your count, it's easy. You just see all the numbers you need to use at a glance. Okay, just see all the numbers you need to use at a glance. So most of these things are very important. They are very relevant. You just need to master them and also know where to use them. So what we did here is count. Let me put count here. We use the count function here. So that's why we're able to get this space. And here we created our rent relief. So even if you want to do your, what's it called now? You want to do your taxable income, right? Your taxable income, and then you want to now see the tax that is payable. You need to also prorate the gross salary. Sorry, you need to also prorate the formula for your tax table. You need to also prorate it, okay? So after you have done it normally, they also come and do it based on the numbers of months that the people work for. You want us to nest that formula now? No, the time is gone. So that is all about today's class. If you have any question, can you unmute your mic and let's ask questions? We have about 2 minutes to go. About 2 minutes to go. Yeah. Mr. Henry, go on.
Good evening. Thank you for today's
Thank you,
class.
sir.
Please, can we get this practice sheet so we can work on them too? Because it's kind of difficult to be generating our own thing to practice with.
Okay, no problem. So I will do that tonight. Yes, I will do that tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling you. So, any other person?
Hello, Mr. Johnson. Good evening. Thank you very much for this class. I don't know if maybe you forgot. I thought you said you wanted to send us some things yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't forget actually. And it's part
Oh,
of
okay.
I said I was going to send tonight.
Oh, okay. So you put all together.
Yes, I'll send
All
tonight so
right.
that
Okay.
you can use it over the weekend.
Over the weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Oh, thanks. Yep.
So, any other question? So, in the absence of any other question, I believe that we all understood what was done today. You just need to continue to practice for you to get better. I need to stop this recording so that, yeah, let me stop the recording.